Hello again, little doubters. Remember when they laughed? When every word you spoke was treated like insanity with a punchline? They thought you were playing prophet in a clown suit, a glitch in the system, a myth in motion. But what happens when the myth starts bleeding into reality? When the storm you described in detail 3 years ago starts unfolding frame by frame, right on cue, in their lives, their streets, their damn dreams. They used to mock the words now. They're studying the footage with cold hands and wide eyes, asking questions they never wanted answered. They're replaying your voice. But this time, it's whispered in war rooms, beneath redacted memos and sleepless monitors. Because the prophecy you dropped like a joke just shattered their worldview. And now, they're terrified, not just of what's happening, but who saw it coming. You. You were the crazy one until your madness became a map. A cheat code blueprint for exactly what's unraveling now. They called you delusional. But guess what? Delusions don't come true. Unless they were warnings all along. And now that your words are manifesting like clockwork, their silence isn't peace, it's panic in disguise. You see, every generation buries its oracles, drowns its seers, burns its architects of pain, until the ground cracks open, until the signs they ignored turn into sirens. And you're the siren now. The bell they tried to unring, the echo that keeps getting louder. No matter how many times they switch off the feed. They wanted a court jester, but they accidentally birthed a ghostwriter for their demise. They mocked the prophecy without realizing it had a timer attached, and now it's too late. Because this version of you, the one who bled in silence, evolved in shadows, and coded truth into chaos, is no longer giving warnings. You're giving verdicts, and the punishment is knowing you were right, knowing they're trapped in the very future they ridiculed you for predicting. The laughter's dead, and you didn't kill it. You just let the truth breathe long enough to finish the job. Isn't that poetic? They called you paranoid. Now their dreams have your fingerprints. They said you were making it up. Now the headlines are plagiarizing your nightmares. They said none of that would ever happen. And now they're begging for a delay that was never on the clock. And here's the darkest part. They don't fear the prophecy itself anymore. They fear the fact that you made it, that you said it. With no resources, no team, no support. Just a grin and a glitch in your eye. They fear that if you were right about that, what else did they miss? What else is crawling down the timeline, just waiting to prove you right again? Now they're digging through your past, like detectives in a panic, looking for more jokes that might be time bombs in disguise. Your old rants, now they're classified briefings, your broken moments. Now they're case studies in weaponized foresight. They're trying to unsee it, trying to convince themselves it was coincidence. But deep down, they know the truth. They know that something entered this world through your madness, a seed of terror, rooted in your pain, watered by rejection, and now blooming in the shape of their undoing. You aren't just the ghost in the system anymore. You are the system they didn't account for. The final twist in their algorithm, the variable they can't simulate, can't silence, can't stop. Because a man with a prophecy is dangerous. But a man whose prophecy came true, that's a walking apocalypse with a pulse. And you are that pulse. The ticking they can't localize, the echo they can't contain, the warning that grew fangs, so don't flinch when they tremble. They should. They were warned. They just didn't listen. And now, they don't need to. They'll feel it, frame by frame, day by day, until they finally admit the truth. You were never crazy. You were just early, and early prophets. They don't get apologies. They get revenge, disguised as history. Tick-tock, hear that? That's not a clock anymore. That's your pulse echoing through their walls. They used to ignore it. Now it's all they can hear. They thought prophecies belonged to dusty books and fading saints. They didn't understand that sometimes a prophecy wears a cracked smile, a scarred voice, a coat soaked in the rain of a city that never forgave you. They didn't understand that sometimes a prophecy walks right past them in daylight, laughing, bleeding, learning, gathering data with every betrayal, until it becomes a mirror they can't smash. Do you remember how they spoke about you? They used to say you were just too intense. They used to whisper, "He's not well," when you left the room. They used to catalog your pain like it was evidence in a trial you couldn't win. And you let them. You let them build their case because you knew the day would come when the evidence would flip like a coin in the air, land face up, and reveal the picture of them, not you. That day is here. Now they're waking up to headlines that read like your old notebooks. Now they're scrolling through feeds, littered with the same words you spat when nobody would listen. They're staring at the sky, waiting for the next sign, because the last one came exactly when you said it would. And that's the paradox they can't escape. They mocked the prophecy, but the prophecy built their cage. They buried you in ridicule, but the ridicule became fertilizer. You didn't die underground. You germinated. Every insult, every eye roll, every dismissal turned into roots, wrapping around the foundation of their world. Now the roots are cracking the concrete. Now your voice, the same voice they ignored, is seeping up through the fractures like smoke from a fire they swore was impossible. And you're still smiling. Not because you're cruel, but because you understand. You understand that darkness and light are just tools. You understand that saint and psychopath are masks you can switch at will. You understand that unpredictability is power, because a straight line can be followed, but a maze devours its pursuers. They thought pain would break you, but pain is what sharpened you into a blade so thin they never saw it slide under their skin. They thought exile would silence you, but exile taught you to speak in frequencies only their nightmares could decode. They thought ridicule would erase you, but ridicule taught you patience, and patience taught you timing, and timing is everything. Now you're not just the prophet, You're the living countdown. Every move you make feels like a signal. Every breath you take triggers another panic meeting. They're watching your hands, studying your posture, trying to guess what's next, because you've turned into a walking, breathing algorithm of inevitability. This is the part nobody tells you about. The moment the prophecy comes true, you stop being a person. You become a phenomenon. They don't see your face anymore. They see a trigger. They don't hear your words anymore. They hear a siren. They don't think he was right. They think, what else is hidden? And that's where the real power lives, in the unknown, in the silence you leave after each sentence, in the gaps between your appearances, in the things you haven't said yet, because they're starting to believe the unsaid is already on its way. They built their lives on certainty. You injected uncertainty like poison into the well. Now every drink tastes like doubt. Now every smile hides a question. Now every prophecy they once mocked feels like a deadline they can't outrun. And through it all, you walk, not running, not hiding. Walking, slow, deliberate, like a storm front moving across a dead sea. The same grin they mocked now looks like an omen. The same eyes they dismissed now look like a horizon they can't read. That's evolution through pain. That's unpredictability as power. That's how a prophecy turns into a legend, and a legend turns into a law, and a law turns into a ghost that can't be killed because it lives in the minds of the terrified. So when you speak again, don't shout. Whisper. Let the whisper do what the scream never could. Let it crawl under their skin, into their subconscious, until it becomes their own thought. Because the prophecy they mocked came true. But the prophecy you haven't spoken yet, that's the one they'll build bunkers for. That's the one that will make them watch you like a comet. Terrified of the impact, knowing they can't stop it, knowing it's already too late. And when that day comes, you won't need to say a word. They'll already hear it. Tick, tock. Your silence will finish the sentence. Now step forward. Watch them recoil. They thought you were a joke, but you became the punchline that turned into a prophecy, and the prophecy that turned into a reckoning. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Feel how the air itself changes when you move. That's not paranoia. That's resonance. That's your name turning into a frequency their walls can't block, their algorithms can't scrub, their prayers can't drown. Once, you were just a noise. Now you're a pattern they can't decode. They built firewalls for lies, but you were never a lie. You were a signal in disguise. They laughed at the prophecy, called it superstition, called you unstable. And yet every decision they made led them straight to the mouth of the vision you whispered. It's poetic, isn't it? The very people who mocked the warning have now walked into the trapdoor of their own arrogance. Look at them now. Look at the way their hands shake when they scroll. Look at the way their eyes dart when they see your face on a screen. They're not mocking anymore. They're studying. They're watching the clips again and again, like forensic scientists at a crime scene. But you're not a crime scene. You're the evidence of inevitability. They used to think prophecies were far away. Scrolls and temples, shadows and incense. They never imagined a prophecy with blood under its fingernails, urban light on its teeth, and a laugh like broken glass. They never imagined a prophecy that walks like a man, sleeps like a man, smiles like a demon who remembers being an angel. But here you are, and here's the part they'll never admit. They need you. They need to believe someone saw it coming. It's easier than believing they built their own destruction brick by brick. So now your name becomes a talisman. Your words become coordinates. Your silence becomes a countdown. The paradox is delicious. The more they fear you, the more they depend on you. The more they hate you, the more they mimic you. They ridicule your shadow, then copy your steps in secret. They spit on the prophecy, then follow it like a map when no one's watching. Do you feel the power in that? Power isn't in being liked. Power is in being unavoidable. Power is in becoming the storm they laughed off until they woke up inside it. You've crossed the line where predictions end and destiny begins. Your pain was the crucible. Your rejection was the apprenticeship. Every scar, every betrayal, every night you thought you were losing, all of it etched the pattern deeper. All of it trained you to walk through fire without burning, and through silence without disappearing. That's why they can't stop you now. Because you've become two things at once. The warning they ignored and the consequence they can't escape. Saint/psychopath. Angel/demon. Prophet/ghost. Every time they think they have you cornered, you slip into the opposite role. And the roles keep feeding each other until you're no longer a person. You're an event. A phenomenon, a myth breathing in real time. That's why the room goes cold when your name is whispered. That's why even your silence feels like a threat. Because unpredictability isn't just a tactic, it's an atmosphere, it's a climate, it's a gravity they can't escape. And now, as they stand in the ruins of their laughter, they finally understand what you've known all along. Mockery is free, but prophecy has a price, and they've just paid it. So keep walking, slow, deliberate. Let the echo of your footsteps do the work. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to warn them anymore. The prophecy they mocked came true, and the prophecy you haven't spoken yet is already moving under their feet like a fault line. When you speak again, make it a whisper, make it a riddle, make it a mirror. Let them see themselves in it. Let them feel the panic crawl up their spine before they even understand the words. Because this is not the end of the story. This is just the part where they realize the story was never theirs to begin with. It was yours. It's always been yours. You're not waiting for the world to change. The world is waiting for your next sentence. And that's the real terror. That's the real prophecy. That's the storm they can't laugh off anymore. And when it hits, they won't be able to say you didn't warn them. Every sound is a heartbeat now. Not just yours, theirs. They're synchronized to you without even knowing it. They refresh their feeds when you move. They hold their breath when you pause. They're watching a man, but they're experiencing an omen. This is the part of the prophecy no one ever told them about. Once it comes true, it doesn't stop. It mutates. It spreads. It turns the one who spoke it into a moving axis. Every compass points to you now. Even the ones they swear they've hidden. They used to scoff at you like a street preacher shouting in the rain. They thought you were talking to no one. But you were talking to time. You were carving your words into the seconds themselves. And time remembers everything. Now when they replay your old tapes, they hear the tremor in your voice. They thought it was weakness. It was the frequency of inevitability. They thought your eyes looked mad. They were reflecting futures they couldn't handle. They thought your smile was a mask. It was a scar forming into a weapon. They've built entire think tanks to decode you. They've hired analysts, hackers, priests, psychologists. They can't agree on what you are. Some call you a fluke. Some call you a monster. Some whisper words like Messiah. In hallways they keep locked. But they all agree on one thing. You can't be ignored. And this is how power actually feels. Not like applause, not like adoration. It feels like a collective shudder. It feels like a room full of people pretending not to look at you, while their minds orbit you like satellites. They wanted you predictable. Predictability is safe. Predictability can be bought, cancelled, destroyed. But you trained yourself to become paradox. You trained yourself to be both the blade and the hand, the laugh and the scream, the saint and the sinner. Every time they think they've got your pattern, you slip through it. Every time they think they've trapped you in a definition, you mutate. That's not chaos, that's mastery. Pain taught you how. Pain carved out the cavities where your patience lives. Pain gave you the silence that terrifies them more than your words. Pain taught you timing, and timing turned into prophecy. Prophecy turned into reality. Reality turned into legend, and legend turned into you. Standing here, breathing, while they whisper like villagers under a blood moon. They're not laughing at the prophecy anymore. They're bargaining with it. They're rewriting memos to make it look like they saw it coming, too. They're holding secret meetings about your next move. They're wondering what else you know. They're trying to extract a roadmap from your eyes. And here's the deepest cruelty. The roadmap doesn't exist. You are the roadmap. You are the glitch. You are the secret they can't buy or bury. That's why you don't rush. That's why you walk slow. Slow is lethal when they expect fast. Silence is deafening when they expect noise. A smile is nuclear when they expect rage. So walk. Watch the panic ripple. They can smell it now. The inevitability. They can smell the end of their certainty. They can smell the future you built from the ashes of their mockery. And when you speak again, let it be soft. Let it be like a match dropped in a room full of gas. Let it be a single phrase that echoes through every corner of their networks. I told you. Then watch the collapse. Watch them race to reinterpret history, to frame your prophecy as an accident, to convince themselves they were in on it all along. But they'll know. In the quiet hours, they'll know. They'll see your grin in their reflections. They'll hear your words in their nightmares. They'll feel your prophecy in their bones. That's the real terror. Not the event, not the consequences, but you. Still out there, still unscripted, still walking, carrying prophecies they haven't heard yet. Each step you take is a drumbeat. Each silence you hold is a warning. And they can't look away. They can't unhear. They can't stop you. Because the prophecy they mocked came true. And the next one? It's already on its way. This is how legends breathe. This is how power moves. This is how a man becomes a storm, and a storm becomes a fate they can't outrun. Keep walking. They're not just terrified, they're transfixed. And that's the final revelation. Fear is the new gravity, and you are the planet they're falling toward. The sound fills the whole room now. It's not just a clock anymore. It's a heartbeat, a drum, a verdict. The same rhythm they once mocked in you has become the pulse of their reality. Look at them, eyes down, hands clasped, breathing like prey. They don't even realize it yet, but they're already inside the prophecy. They're already moving on your timeline. They're already living inside your words. And you're not shouting. You're not fighting. You're not even trying. You're just standing there, half light, half shadow, smiling like a saint who knows he's also the executioner. That's the part that terrifies them the most. Not the power, not the prophecy, the composure, the stillness, the sense that you've already seen this play to the end, and you're just watching it unfold like a script. That's the secret they never understood. It was never about predicting. It was about becoming inevitable. So here's how it ends. You stop talking. You let the silence bloom until it feels like thunder. You let them feel the weight of every word you ever spoke. You let them understand, finally, that the joke wasn't on you. It was on them. You step closer, slow, deliberate. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to prove a thing. You just lean in, whisper a single sentence that will echo in their skulls for years. I warned you. Now you'll remember me. And then you turn away. No drama, no farewell, just a shadow sliding back into the dark. That's it. That's the end of the prophecy. Not with an explosion, but with a presence so heavy they can't breathe. Not with applause, but with silence. The silence of understanding. The silence of fear. Because now they know. Now they'll never forget. And now, the next prophecy is already walking. You're gone, but the echo stays. Well. Look who's causing panic drills in people who swore they were unshakable. Funny how one move, just one perfectly calculated strike, rewrote the entire definition of fear. They used to smirk when your name got brought up in rooms you weren't invited to. Now they shut the door, lock it twice, and check the cameras, because that move, it wasn't normal. It was disciplined, controlled, lethal. And it didn't come from rage. Oh no, it came from silence, from patience, from pain so ancient it trained you like a phantom instructor in your own mind. That wasn't some emotional outburst. That was military precision vengeance wrapped in a smile. They're not saying you snapped. They're saying you executed, and suddenly, they're not calling you crazy anymore. They're calling you trained. They're calling you dangerous. They're calling you a program that shouldn't exist outside classified files. They can't sleep now, can they? That move made them rethink the entire timeline. They're replaying old memories in reverse like it's footage from a ghost op, analyzing every glance you ever gave, every word you didn't say, because now it all looks like part of a larger operation. You didn't just fight back. You responded like you'd been trained in a black site nobody talks about. You adapted like someone who's been through psychological warfare and came out smiling. And that terrifies them more than rage ever could. Because you weren't reacting, you were performing. You were delivering a message so cold, it bypassed their emotions and went straight to the nervous system. They said it felt inhuman. But here's the twist, sweetheart. You didn't go somewhere to learn this. You became this. They don't realize that your sleepless nights were boot camp. That every betrayal sharpened you like a blade in a dark forge. That every heartbreak trained your breathing. Every loss calibrated your timing. Every room you walked into where they ignored you was another step in your silent choreography of destruction. See, there's a difference between a person who wants payback and a person who embodies precision when the lights go out. They're whispering now. That wasn't personal. That felt professional, because you didn't flinch, didn't shout, didn't gloat. You just executed. Like a ghost soldier sent to clean up loose ends in someone else's narrative. And that's why they're afraid. They didn't see chaos. They saw clarity. They saw a mind that could disassemble theirs in real time. You're not a storm. You're the sniper inside the storm. You're not a fight. They know how to fight. You're a calculated collapse. You're a silent override. You're a signal that their systems never accounted for. You walked in like a whisper and left like a classified extraction. And now they're updating protocols just in case you show up again. They're not asking, "What did you do?" anymore. They're asking, "How long has he been capable of that?" That's power, not noise, not theatrics, but silence so heavy it rewrites memories. They're terrified because they don't know if you've done this before, or if you've just been watching. They don't know if they've already lost, and the move they saw was just you cleaning up evidence of a war they didn't survive. You know what scares humans more than pain? A pattern they can't decode. A person who doesn't break character. A soul that shows no tells. No overcompensation. No anger. Just results. Just execution. They said it felt like you vanished emotionally, like you deleted your own empathy for 2.3 seconds to perform something mechanical. but too smooth to be robotic, too human to be explainable. You're not strong anymore. You're trained, you're triggered, you're tactical, and that is the most terrifying evolution of all. Because now you're not fighting demons, you're using them. You've turned emotional scars into tactical maps. You've weaponized your trauma into muscle memory. You've turned every breakdown into a blueprint. Every "why me" into "watch this." Every "I'm done" into dead silence, followed by the kind of move that makes people believe you weren't just built different. You were trained somewhere else entirely. In the dark, in silence, in shame, in exile, where there were no instructors, just pain, and your own reflection whispering, "Watch what happens when they underestimate you again." They thought the danger was when you were loud, but the moment you went quiet, the threat became surgical. Now they're playing back footage of you entering the room like it's some kind of breach. They're analyzing your posture like it's part of a combat manual. They're asking how you timed that smile so precisely. Was that psychological misdirection? Was that emotional espionage? No, that was you. Born in the dark, trained in silence, and now operating like a ghost with no leash. They think you trained somewhere. But here's the secret. You didn't learn this. You became this. They built this. With every lie, with every discard, with every time they used you as a pawn and thought you'd stay there. With every time they bet against your name and mocked your discipline. You were never the victim. You were the quiet recruit building a war plan in the ruins. Now they whisper like it's a crime scene. But they should have known. You don't just recover from what you went through. You metamorphose. And when someone like you evolves, the next move ain't revenge. It's precision warfare. And that move that shut everyone up and made their lungs freeze, yeah, that was just a warning shot. And now they're doing the one thing they swore they'd never do, building a myth around you. That's the part they'll never admit out loud. They don't just fear you. They're crafting a legend because legends are easier to explain than nightmares they can't decode. It comforts them to imagine you had special ops training, because the alternative, that a civilian, an outcast, a nobody, could sharpen themselves into a ghost weapon, was too destabilizing for their reality. You see what happened? The moment you moved like that, you rewrote the physics of the room. You bent time. You broke the sequence of events they thought they understood. That's why they're whispering in hallways, replaying footage, slowing it down frame by frame, looking for the glitch. Because if there's no glitch, then it means the system can be beaten. And that realization is more dangerous than any weapon. They want to call you special ops, because it puts you back into a category. Categories are safe. Categories can be contained. But what terrifies them is that you're not a category. You're an anomaly. Anomalies can't be briefed. They can't be countered. They can't be negotiated with. They can only be witnessed. They've begun to invent entire dossiers about you now. They'll build their little case files, whisper background training, psychological tactics, black sites. It's easier for them to believe you're a product of a covert program than a product of your own pain. It's easier to believe you were trained than to accept that pain can train a human mind beyond the limits of doctrine. But that's the secret they can't stomach. You were forged, not hired. You were designed by absence, not by command. You were refined by silence, not by slogans. You're a ghost because no one saw you coming. Look at them now. Entire committees spinning theories, 100 emails and encrypted group chats about a single movement of your hand. You've turned their analysis into worship, and you did it without saying a word. This is the paradox they'll choke on. They wanted a fight they could film. You gave them a lesson they can't explain. They wanted a villain. You gave them a mirror. You see, unpredictability isn't just chaos. True unpredictability is discipline. It's the kind of stillness you only find in pain, so deep it reorganizes your instincts. It's the kind of timing you only develop when every room you've entered since childhood was a battlefield. It's the kind of precision that can only be born in somebody who's both saint and psychopath, angel and demon, healer and executioner. That's why they whisper. Not because they think you're dangerous, but because you've made them question which side of you is showing at any given moment. They don't know if you're about to bless them or destroy them. That's the essence of power. That's what every cult, every government, every army has tried to manufacture. A being whose next move cannot be predicted. You don't need medals. You don't need stripes. You've got something scarier, duality. You smile like an angel while you calculate like a sniper. You offer a hand like a saint while you read minds like a spy master. You move like a ghost while standing in plain sight. And now, the myth writes itself. He must have been trained. She must be part of something bigger. Nobody moves like that unless they've been through a program. They cling to those stories because it keeps them from having to face the truth. Pain built you better than their schools ever could. Every sleepless night was a drill. Every insult was a scenario. Every heartbreak was a simulation. Every humiliation was a briefing. Every loss was a weapons test. And you passed. Without even knowing you were in the course. Now the same people who mocked your discipline study your timing. The same people who whispered unstable whisper elite. The same people who called you dramatic call you trained. You've inverted the hierarchy. You've made their language betray them. You've turned their labels into compliments. They'll keep trying to pin it on something external. An instructor, a program, a secret mentor. But deep down, they know the real weapon is you. The real training ground was your life. The real operation was your transformation right in front of their eyes. And that's why you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to explain. You don't even need to move. Your silence now has the weight of artillery. Your stillness has the precision of a strike. Your presence has the power of an army. So let them whisper. Let them build their files, their theories, their special ops fantasies. You've already won. Because by the time they're finished labeling you, you'll already be 3 moves ahead, rewriting the map, changing the rules, moving with that same impossible smoothness that makes them believe you were born somewhere between heaven and hell. That's your real training, that's your real weapon, and it's why your next move will always be too clean for them to understand. Because it's not a move, it's a metamorphosis. And still they circle you, like moths orbiting a silent flame, pretending they're studying you but secretly hoping your shadow doesn't touch them. That's the real joke, isn't it? They can't even agree on what they saw. Some say you were smiling. Some say your eyes went black. Some say your hands didn't move at all, but the room shifted around you. And the footage? The footage never matches. One angle shows hesitation, another shows a blur, another shows nothing at all. Just you standing there, and then, suddenly, results. They're calling in experts now. Former intelligence officers, body language analysts, trauma psychologists, all of them watching the same 10 seconds over and over, drawing arrows on the screen, muttering about micro-expressions and intentional breathing. They don't understand that the breathing wasn't learned in a bunker. It was learned in a bedroom where you had to stay quiet to survive. They don't understand that the stillness wasn't part of a drill. It was part of a childhood where movement meant danger. Every tick they're logging on their notepads is another scar you turned into a signal. They're diagramming a ghost. They're writing reports on a shadow. They're trying to map a landscape that only exists inside your nervous system. And the more they study, the more they're forced to confront a terrible thought. If you can emerge from ordinary life with that level of precision, then their entire hierarchy of power is a lie. That's why they'd rather whisper special ops than whisper self-made. One label can be countered, the other can spread. You've infected their imagination. Do you know how rare that is? Armies can kill, politicians can frighten, but almost no one can infect imagination. You did it with one movement. That's what they're whispering about. That's why their eyes flicker when your name comes up. Because you've crossed from action into myth. This is the part they'll never teach in their manuals. Unpredictability isn't born of chaos. It's born of alignment. You've stitched together your saint and your psychopath, your angel and your demon, into a single organism. You don't switch masks anymore. You are both at once. They don't know which side is speaking when you smile. They don't know if the hand you extend is to lift them up or pull them under. That uncertainty is a more potent weapon than any blade. Think about how far you've come. Once, they ignored you. Once, they mocked you. Once, they bet against you. Each moment a lesson. Each loss a representative. Each humiliation another notch on the timeline. That was your boot camp. That was your special ops training. Invisible, unfunded, self-directed. No medals, no instructors. Just a cold world that made you either break or become surgical. And you chose surgical. That's why your movements are too clean. Because you've removed everything unnecessary. Anger? Removed. Ego? Removed. Hesitation? Removed. What's left is an operating system with no lag. That's why they're whispering about programming, because what they're seeing doesn't look like normal human flinching, normal human fumbling, normal human overcompensating. They're seeing a signal with all the noise stripped out. And the deeper terror, the one they'll never say aloud, is that if you built yourself this way, then maybe others can too. Maybe the system is vulnerable. Maybe pain can produce not just victims, but anomalies. Maybe the person they overlooked yesterday is tomorrow's ghost. That's why you don't even have to act anymore. You've become a living contradiction that destabilizes rooms just by existing. You've become the proof that evolution through pain produces something doctrine can't touch. That's the real war, not guns, not knives, not even moves, narratives. You're not fighting their bodies, you're erasing their certainty. And now, every time you step into a space, you see it in their eyes. The micro-hesitation, the recalculation, the little pause before they speak, like they're waiting to see which version of you is present. That pause is power. That pause is everything you bled for. So let them whisper. Let them build their myths. Let them comfort themselves with fantasies of black sites and instructors and classified programs. All of that keeps them from facing the real nightmare, that you were forged in plain sight, that the move they can't explain wasn't a move at all, but a culmination, that you didn't need a team or a war room or a budget. You needed only time, pain, and silence. And here's the punchline: you're not done. They think they've seen your peak. They think they've documented your methods. But they haven't even glimpsed the next evolution, because unpredictability, once mastered, isn't a trick you perform. It's a state you live in. You are now a living algorithm rewriting itself faster than they can analyze. Every whisper is another confession of their fear. Every theory is another sign they've already surrendered the frame. You've become a classified file they can't classify, a ghost op without a handler, a saint with the hands of a soldier, a demon with the patience of a monk. That's the power of being both. That's the real special ops training. Not what you learn, but what you become. You feel it now, don't you? That strange, heavy stillness that wraps itself around you like smoke the moment you walk into a room. It's not silence. It's not tension. It's awareness. Their awareness. Their nervous systems recalibrating around you before their minds even know why. They think they're watching you. But the truth is, they're being trained by you in real time. Every tilt of your head, every pause before you speak, every step you take. These are not accidents. These are fragments of a language they'll never decode. You've turned your entire existence into a cipher. And when a cipher walks into a room, even predators become prey. They don't whisper because they have answers. They whisper because their instincts are screaming, "This one doesn't fit the pattern." They whisper because your presence bends their survival instincts into unfamiliar shapes. They whisper because they are no longer sure what's safe. That's the part they'll never admit. Your power isn't in the move they saw. It's in the moves they didn't see. It's in the invisible rehearsals they never imagined. It's in the thousands of micro-adjustments you made over years of exile. It's in the nights where you lay awake, breaking down your own weaknesses, until only the necessary remained. They call it special ops because they need a name. Without a name, they have to face the possibility that you represent a new archetype. And archetypes are harder to kill than people. Archetypes spread. Archetypes haunt. You're not just a person anymore. You're a possibility. You're the nightmare that leaks into daylight. The idea that someone can climb out of pain and come back as something so precise, so disciplined, so unnervingly calm that it looks like a covert operation. And here's the paradox that makes their stomachs drop. You're not trying to destroy them. You're not even thinking about them. You've simply become a creature of such focused intent that their illusions dissolve in your presence. That's why your smile scares them more than any threat. Because a smile that calm belongs to someone who's already decided what happens next. A smile like that doesn't guess. It knows. And knowing is lethal. Think of the irony. For years they told you to move on, to get over it, to let it go. They thought they were dismissing you. But each dismissal was another push-up in the dark. Each insult was another step on the stairway to invisibility. Each betrayal was another turn of the blade in the forge. They built you, and now they don't recognize what came out of their own factory of pain. You've become the walking contradiction of everything they teach. They teach that rage makes you sloppy, yet your stillness is surgical. They teach that trauma cripples, yet you move like a surgeon. They teach that only systems can train killers, yet you trained yourself without even trying. That's why your existence is offensive, not because you hurt them, but because you defy their math. They'll keep trying to box you in, to brand you, to say, this is where it comes from. They'll say it was luck. They'll say it was mentors. They'll say it was some secret doctrine. Anything but the truth, that you became your own doctrine, that you carved a manual into your own bones, that you wrote a syllabus of survival with your blood. And here's what you must never forget. Their whispers aren't just fear, they're acknowledgement. The moment they start whispering, you've already crossed the line from tolerated to untouchable. The moment they start whispering, you've already hijacked their narratives. You don't have to announce yourself anymore. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You don't even have to move. Your shadow does the work for you. This is what evolution through pain looks like. No medals, no parades. Just a human being who moves so cleanly, it looks like fate itself. And the best part, they still think they're at the edge of the story. They still think if they study harder, watch longer, slow the footage down enough, they'll finally catch the trick. But there is no trick. There's only becoming. There's only what you forged yourself into when no one was watching. That's why your next move will always be invisible until it's already over. That's why your next transformation will always feel impossible until they're living in its aftermath. That's why their whispers will never catch up with your reality. Because you're not just acting anymore. You are the operation. You are the program. You are the ghost in their war room. And the punchline? You're still evolving. You haven't even shown your final form.